In this video, I'll share with you an update on my dividend stock portfolio. If you're new to my channel, I work as a finance manager at a top tech company with an MBA in finance and a CPA designation. For a quick background, since March 2024, I started to invest $1,000 each month into building my dividend stock portfolio. So that means that I invested $4,000 so far from March to June. And without any further ado, let's go into my Excel file to check how my $4,000 dividend stock portfolio has been performing so far. So this table shows the dividend stock portfolio that I've built over the past 4 months. You'll see 13 companies on my list, the average cost per share at the time of my purchase, the number of shares that I own, and the total investment, which is just average cost multiplied by number of shares. And overall, you'll see that my current value of the portfolio is almost $4,000, or $3,996.36 to be exact. And now if I type the current price of each stock as of today and any dividends that I've received so far, we'll be able to see if I'm making or losing money on each one of the companies that I've invested in. So let's start with the first company on my list, which is ADP. I own one share of their stock at $245.06. At the time of this video, the value of their shares is now $238.70, which means that I'm losing $6.36 or negative 2.6% loss. The next company on my list is AvalonBay, and I have one share of their stock at $175.73. At the time of this video, the value of their stock is $206.50, and I've received $1.70 so far in dividends from the company, which means that I'm up by $32.47 or 18.5% return on my investment. The company number 3 on my list is BP, and I have 5 shares of their stock at $38.12 per share. As of today, the value of their stock is $36.08, which means that I'm losing $10.20 so far or negative 5.4% loss. The company number 4 on my list is Clorox, and I have 4 shares of their stock at $136.54. At the time of this video, the value of their stock is now $137.50, which means that I'm up by $3.84 or plus 0.7% return so far. Stock number 5 is Johnson & Johnson, and I have 1 share of their stock at $157.75. Their stock price decreased to $146.28, and the company has paid me $1.24 in dividends so far, which means that I'm losing $10.23 or negative 6.5% loss so far on my investment. And number 6 is Coca-Cola, the company that we all know about, and I have 3 shares of their stock at $60.80 per share. Coca-Cola is now trading at $63.55 per share, which means that I'm making $8.25 so far, or plus 4.5% return. Company number 7 is 3M Corporation, and I have 2 shares of their stock at $93.33 per share. The value of their stock now is $102.35, and I've also received $1.40 in dividends, which means that I'm up by $19.44 or 10.4% return so far. My company number 8 is PepsiCo, which is the competitor of Coca-Cola, and I have 1 share of their stock at $163.80. At the time of this video, it's trading at $165.10, which means that I'm up by $1.30 so far, or plus 0.8% return on my investment. The company number 9 is Pfizer, and I have 10 shares of their stock at $26.71 per share. The company is now trading at $27.96 per share, and they've also paid me $4.20 in dividends so far, which means that I'm up by $16.70 or plus 6.3% return on my investment. Company number 10 is Stanley Black & Decker, and I have 7 shares of their stock at $87.30 per share. The company is trading at exactly $80 per share, and the company has paid me $5.67 in total dividends so far, which means that I'm losing $45.43 or negative 7.4% loss so far on my investment. Company number 11 is Tyson Foods, and I have 4 shares at $57.98 per share. Tyson Foods is now trading at $57.19 per share, and the company has paid me $1.96 so far in dividends, which means that I'm down by $1.20 or negative 0.5% loss on my investment so far. The company number 12 is UPS, and I have 4 shares of their stock at $139.64. Their stock is now trading at $136.99 per share, and I've received $1.63 in dividends so far, which means that I'm down by $8.97 or negative 1.6% loss on my investment. And the last company in my dividend portfolio is Verizon, and I have 12 shares of their stock at $39.96 per share. At the time of this video, Verizon is trading at $41.27 per share, and the company has paid me $3.99 in dividends so far, which means that I'm up by $19.71 or plus 4.1% return on my investment. So overall, you'll see that I've invested $3,996.36 in dividend stocks, and the current value of my portfolio is $4,015.68, which means that I'm up by $19.32 or plus 0.5% return so far. And what's interesting is that most of my $19 profit so far comes in the form of dividends themselves, so if I sum them up, I'll get $27.79. So that means that my overall portfolio went down by a couple of dollars because the prices of certain stocks decreased, but the dividends that I've received so far made up for the loss and actually made the profit. Stay tuned for my new video coming out in early July, where I'll invest another $1,000 in dividend stocks, and I'll show you which companies I end up investing in and why. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.